Welcome back to Drive Your Thoughts podcast. I'm your host, Master Coach Carrie Marshall, and it's time to go after those goals.
Yeah, whether ready or not, life's coming hard, no breaks, no stop. And if you put me on the spot, don't get it twisted, I never drop. If you feel a bit out of control and out the box, here's a way that you could drive your thoughts. Turn this podcast on, it's a lock. Carrie Marshall on the clock.
Hey, what's up? It's Carrie Marshall from Drive Your Thoughts Coaching. And today I want to talk to you about something that might be you. So have you ever heard of something called entitlement? What does that mean to you? You know, a couple of episodes ago, we talked about why words matter. And so I want you to just for a second pause and think about entitlement, because today we are going to talk about goal entitlement and how it can really mess up how you're going after your goals and whether you actually achieve those goals. Okay, so let me tell you a story about one of my past clients. So I had a client come to me that was setting a goal. And as we were going after that goal, one of the things that I love to talk to my clients about is that I don't know how they're going to reach the goal. Now, that might sound a little bit counterintuitive because a lot of people say like, well, I'm coming to a coach to tell me what to do. But really, what you need to do is you need to figure out how success is going to come to you because it's different for everybody. Let's take something like basketball. Not every single person that got to the NBA did it the exact same way. There is not one set way to get to the NBA. And so when we talk about accomplishing goals, it's the exact same thing. You have to be willing to look at how you're going to reach your goal. And it's not going to come from something like my set of rules or strategies, or maybe even how I have achieved a goal. And so as we were talking and this client was going through the goal, I talked to her about that she was going to need to accomplish it a different way than maybe other people had. And she was like, yeah, I get it. But, and this is where it came in, the but part, but I have followed this person for so long, and then I bought the course, and she told me she was going to tell me exactly how to accomplish this goal. Now, I want to pause for a second because we want to really look at this from a different perspective. Is it bad to invest in courses and things like that? Absolutely not. But what we want to remember is that people are not showing us the one path to success. They're telling us a strategy or teaching us from their course one way to success, okay? And so we want to make sure that as we go into investing in things, that we're not thinking it's the end all be all to accomplish everything, regardless of what marketing tells us, okay? So my client has invested in this course, she's all in, and so she starts to do the steps. She's going through the steps with this process. And so through the process, this person is telling her exactly what to do. And then I'm checking in with her because I'm her coach. And as we go through, the very first time she's like, I did it. I'm loving it. It's amazing. The second time she came, she said, well, I've done the things, but I'm not getting the results that she promised me. And by the end, she was really, really resentful and bitter that what somebody had promised her was not happening. Now, why does goal entitlement come in? Because what I want to offer for everybody listening is that goals are never going to happen the way that you expect them to. Most often, you're going to have to adjust and adapt throughout the process, and it's not going to be that one size fits all as you go after your goal. And so as you look at the process of going after your goal, you're going to watch entitlement come in when you think a couple of things. Number one, you think that you deserve to get the goal because you followed a process. That's the first type of goal entitlement that I see. Number two, you think that because of who you are entitled to get that said goal. Number three is you believe that because you believe hard enough and you just have this underlying belief that once again, you're entitled to something because of that. So what is the correlation between the three things? Well, it's all about belief about what you're doing, who you are, or or your belief behind it. All three of those things do not entitle you to anything. So why is that? Well, just because you found a process doesn't mean that now the universe is going to say, well, they have the step-by-step guide. obviously it's going to work for them. You have to realize once again that the process is in place for you to just have a starting off point to start to take action. So you may have a goal to create a business. Well, then if you want to create that goal, you're going to maybe go and find a step-by-step guide, but it's going to be different for every single person based on where they live, what type of business they're starting, what their goals are for the business. And so always watch when entitlement is coming around processes, because just because you've found a process doesn't mean that it's supposed to work for you. The second one is who you are. So maybe you have a belief about who you are. I've seen this happen, especially with like, oh, well, my dad is this person, or I've done this in my life. Once again, that does not entitle you to goals, to goal entitlement. So one of my clients has had really great success. She's a very, very successful coach. She has a multi-million-dollar business. And as she's built her business, she noticed something, that she had entitlement that Facebook ads should just work for her. Now, they've worked for her in the past, and that's one of the reasons that that entitlement came in. But she also had a belief that because of who she is, and because she is a multi-million-dollar coach, that of course, Facebook ads should always work for her all of the time. So then when they stopped working for several different reasons that we're not going to get into, but for several different reasons, they stopped working. She had this entitlement that it should always work for her because of who she is. That's not the case at all. Facebook ads do not care who you are and how much money you've made. That tells you how successful they're going to be. So the third one is belief. And this is what I want to kind of offer with belief is I see that people sometimes get stuck in just believing, and they get stuck without thinking that they need to do anything. And so it's almost like an entitlement of their belief. So then they say, well, I just think that if I believe hard enough, that manifestation is going to happen, and that poof, my goal will be achieved. Now, this is a sneaky one, because watch how the entitlement comes in. We're basing it on that we don't have to do anything. And that's what we're entitled to, is we're entitled to believing, and then the universe is just going to bring it to us. Absolutely, it's not going to happen. You have to work and take action towards your goal. So why does entitlement towards your goal matter so much? And what's the problem with it? Well, the problem is, just like with that client that I mentioned, we start to build up resentment, and we start to be very, very judgmental of ourselves and other people. This will never lead to that great energy that you want to have around your goals. So one of my clients, once again, came and she was so resentful about that course. She was so resentful that she took it, that she invested in it, and she kept saying, well, it didn't work. And so we had to really decide, like, well, what did you think was going to happen? And then kind of adjusting and thinking like, well, why didn't it happen for me? Well, it didn't happen for her for several reasons. Number one is this course was all about Instagram and making money off of Instagram. Well, she had very few followers on Instagram. She hadn't done the work to actually get a following and an audience where she could be making offers and having people take it. Remember how we talked several episodes back about building our audiences through networking. That's one of the things that we need to do is if you're making an offer to 50 people on your Instagram account, number one, who knows with algorithms if they're going to actually see it? But number two, you're making offers to 50 people, not 50,000 people. So I noticed that there was a lot of entitlement around that because she thought that because she took the course and she had the steps, that she was entitled to having success. But she didn't see that there needed to be some adjusting and adapting based on where she was with the process. So whenever you see goal entitlement coming up, meaning that you think that because of the process, who you are, or because of just your belief that you are now entitled to the goal, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but that is not up to you to decide. You are not entitled to anything. You are entitled to having possibility and belief in your life, and then going out and taking action over and over again in order to find your path to success to achieve that goal. You are not entitled to just setting up and finding a step-by-step process on YouTube and then deciding that you get to do it that way and that it's always going to work for you. It's not that way. So watch when goal entitlement gets in the way. So how do we get past goal entitlement? And then what can we do instead? So you can get past goal entitlement by really looking at your beliefs about the process. So instead of saying, I'm entitled to this working because I purchased the course, you're going to say to yourself, I'm interested in learning how this process works for me. I'm willing to adjust the process based on where I'm at, and I'm open to feedback that maybe this is a couple of steps towards my goal, and then I'm open to figuring out what the next steps are going to be. If you believe that you're entitled to getting a goal because of who you are, I want you to really come back and ask yourself, why? Why? Just because I have a multi-million-dollar coaching business, why do I think that Facebook ads are always going to work? Because now we need to look at how ego is playing in to our goals and why we think that because of who we are, it's just magically going to happen. And then once again with belief. Belief is powerful, but belief is not going to get you anywhere towards accomplishing your goal if you're not taking action. So instead of becoming entitled around your goals, I want you to really think about coming back to possibility and really infusing belief in action. That is the winning combination to any type of goal that you're going to want to get. You're going to need to believe that there is possibility. You're going to need to see that there are many options, many possibilities, and then you personally are going to need to decide, what action do I need to take in order to get closer to that possibility? And then, as you know, one of my favorite sayings is adjust and adapt quickly. Once you hit some actual data points of what's coming in for you, as you take those steps, I want you to hit that checkpoint and ask yourself, what do I need to adjust? What do I need to adapt? And how quickly can I implement it? I hope that this has been helpful as we've talked about goal entitlement. If you find that you're entitled to your goals, I want you to step back and remind yourself, what you're entitled to is a belief and possibility, but it is up to you to take the action to make it happen. We'll talk to you next time on Drive Your Thoughts Coaching. Thanks for listening to this podcast episode. If you're ready to get in the driver's seat of your own life, you can come and follow me at Drive Your Thoughts Coaching on Instagram, or come and see more ways to work with me at driveyourthoughts.com.
Yeah, whether ready or not, life's coming hard, no breaks, no stop. And if you put me on the spot, don't get it twisted, I never drop. If you feel a bit out of control and out the box, here's a way that you could drive your thoughts. Turn this podcast on, it's a lock. Carrie Marshall on the clock.